All right, everybody, welcome to the Elite Podcast. My name is
You're already recording?
yeah, we're recording. My
Oh,
name
we're
is
live.
Jason,
All right.
and I got a really, really good friend here. Somebody I consider as a mentor to me in a bunch of different areas in my walk with my relationship with God, and my family, and business. And Patrick he's been one of those guys that I can actually truly say is a friend, and I look up to, as a person. Uh, Patrick is one of the smartest businessmen I actually know, and I like to follow. He's the one that told me I need to start putting AI into my system, and I'm going to start showing you guys a bunch about AI and what we're doing today. But
I don't know
we'll
how
start.
smart that is, but I
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
you saying that. Same
Uh,
here, man.
but
Appreciate you.
tell us about yourself, Patrick. Everybody knows who I am. Tell me about
Oh
you.
gosh, man. That's a loaded question, right? First and foremost, a Christian believer and have
That's what I'm
been
talking about.
since a young age. I had the privilege of growing up in a strong Christian household.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say I didn't find my way in other places, but have been around it for my entire life. An interesting fact. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm the only guy in my family that hasn't been through seminary.
Huh.
So when I think about it, it's like my dad went to seminary, my brother went to seminary, my brother-in-law went to seminary, my other brother-in-law went to seminary. My brother-in-law in Dallas, Texas is a pastor of a church there too. So it's just one of those things where I think I've had the blessing of being surrounded by strong Christian men. But I'm not in ministry. I'm in business, but we do ministry through business. So
Yeah.
a little bit different.
And I've seen, you're in like multiple businesses. We have a business together, and it's and I like being in business with you due to the fact that we think a lot. Like you can laugh at this because you would do some stuff like this, and your wife told me a long time ago that is Patrick all day. But we were on vacation recently, and I drove by and I seen this trailer for sale, right? And it's $2,900, and I'm like, mm, that's a $6,000 trailer. Remind you that I'm on vacation and I'm and I don't need the money. I'm well off. God's blessed me in tremendous ways, and I can't stop thinking about it. And I go back to the Airbnb we're at,
Oh man,
and you're laughing because
I
you
already know where you're
understand.
going,
I
100%.
go to the big ones. I'm looking on Facebook. I'm looking on Facebook. I'm looking everywhere to find, and I don't even have Facebook. And I'm sending it to other people. Can you look this up and see if it's on there? Come to find out, it was a old guy that was just selling a trailer, and I came back and I was like, got the title, everything else, and I don't know how I'm gonna get this thing home. I don't know if it doesn't sell, any of these problems I'm about to have, but I put it up for $6,000. I ended up taking, I want to say $4,700 for it. I bought it for 25, and
See, take the kids on a trip for flipping a trailer, man.
you know what I mean. And it was like that, boom. Patrick is that guy too.
Well, it's
Like,
funny you say that. My wife has absolutely succumbed to the idea of if we are leaving town and there's any free time outside of normal work,
mm-hmm.
we're finding something to flip. And so, I'll think about a trip back to California where it was like kids were young, ultimate chaos mode of like trying to take them to California to do beach and Disney. And we had in-laws that had rented a house. And on the way there, I find this electric car that has special parking privileges in California. We show up to the house. There's a flatbed that drops that thing off. We drive it for 2 weeks, use the heck out of it, make $8,000, sell it on the last day before we leave. And it's those type of things, man, where it's like it took probably tens, if not hundreds of those times for Amanda to go, okay, it is what it is, because
So
she wasn't having it early on.
she's like my wife now. She's not even surprised no more.
No, no.
We got a project going on right now, me and Patrick, where we Patrick's a huge VW guy, and we bought a off-road VW Bug, and we're rebuilding it. But when I showed up with it, it wasn't even like before. My wife would have been like, "Oh my, what is this? What are you doing?" Now it's like, "Don't take my parking spot with that."
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, just her parameters, right?
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
mess with
Just
my
don't take
thing.
my parking spot
There you
with
go.
that.
Do
So
whatever else you want.
whatever else, I'm not even getting involved in this one. But
Now,
uh,
my rule of thumb, man, is when people say, "Hey, the toys of a boat or a camper or off-road vehicle," it's an opportunity to bring the family together, quite
mhm.
frankly. And I encourage people all the time. It is never a bad investment if you get in right and you get out right. And
Yeah.
even if that means cutting even, I've had some of these things that just quite frankly don't make money, but I'm not losing on it. And so at the end of the day, if it creates that family time and you're using it as a tool and you can make money on it, that's a win in my books. So,
Yeah. So one of the best, our other one of our other business partners, first time he got to meet Patrick and go to his house, he got to Patrick's house. We're gonna talk about his family as like because it's like they're the all American family, and like I know you say that and you do that, but
yeah,
wait,
I don't know about
when I got there, you know what I mean. I was like, oh, they're so nice and awesome, and the kids are so sweet. Everybody, our friend Danny was like. They got somebody tied up in the basement. I guarantee you, because this is just too nice. This is just too
Oh
perfect.
man, I will say, Danny, we were working on a Harley transaction deal for him, and yeah, when he came inside the house, and it's just normal protocol. I want my girls around adults to have adult conversations.
Uh-huh.
It's so typical for kids to get on their phone
Yeah.
and slink away into a different mode. My kids haven't had phones, quite frankly, and if they have a phone, it's used for specific purposes. Text, they cannot add a contact. But my point in saying all this is they're used to being around adults. So when they came in and Danny walked in the house, it was white ghost. Like he was like, "What is going on?" I could tell he was just not used to seeing smaller kids having adult conversations. So
But I love it. I'm trying to raise my daughter the exact way you raised yours, and it's a beautiful thing to see. I mean, I just watched your daughter go through her final dance recital,
mm-hmm.
or for the place she's been at for years, and before she goes off to college, and it's just like, we were tearing up in the back for her, but my wife, I think, was probably her biggest fan. She kept screaming, "Go!"
Oh, I love it. Well,
Yeah,
Grayson too, right?
yeah, yeah. So
Now that it's interesting graduating a kid. You have these emotions that you feel like are building up to say, okay, I'm about to push this kid into the world and they're going to go do great things. That wasn't really emotional, honestly. We get to the dance recital piece, and that's something she's been doing since she was 4. And so to see your kid that's just like gone after something super hard, she's really good at it on top of it. And to see her finish that out well
yeah,
was emotional. Like it was just one of those things where everybody always jokes about dance dads, and it's like for me, I've never danced or quite frankly been
yeah,
around it, even as a kid with my siblings. But to watch her go and fight through all of that and do everything she did on top of everything else, academics, other sports. I mean,
yep,
she did all kinds of things, but to see her come out and do well is the story of the Bible, man.
yeah.
It's well done, good and faithful servant. Like it's just one of those things where, as a father, super proud moment. So
That's
yeah,
awesome, man.
yeah,
That's awesome. And then business. Let's talk about the business side, man, because
sure,
I've watched you walk with integrity through your businesses. One of the things I've been telling, I mentor, you help mentor me, and you help mentor some other people, is I mentor a ton of guys in business, right? And one of the things I've been telling the guys over the last couple years is, if you're not doing something you're not using your business in some kind of ministry way, either speaking life into your employees or blessing. You don't have to, if you're not speaking life, say you don't have employees, or say that they're already believers or whatever. What about blessing others? Blessing your local pastor, figuring out ways to do it, and don't do it to where they know you're doing it, or don't do it to anything else
mm-hmm.
like that. But what about blessing other people through your business? What about blessing uh, struggling families? What about blessing, you know what I mean? And I've watched you guys do that, and I learned from other things, but that's one of the things that's been on our hearts recently. Blessing, uh, I'll share about this because it's known, and they said it and talked about it and everything else. But we recently blessed a school that's a Christian school that started up, and they're doing tremendous work there. And I'm not saying it for recognition or anything else, but we blessed them with $25,000 to build a new playground. Me and my wife, it was put on our hearts to do it. And I'm saying it because they brought it out and said it about it already. You know what I mean? That we're the
Mm-hmm.
ones that did it. I would have never said that we were the ones that did it, but that's what I'm talking about. Use the finances that God's given you. And I've
Mm-hmm.
seen you do that. Not just that, but I've seen you hire men and work with those men. I've seen you hire contractors, work with those contractors even in your house, and figure out ways to bless them and let them know. Right? Am I
It
wrong?
makes it harder, honestly. than the normal route, right? If you're trying to do ministry through everything, but there's ministry interwoven as kingdom venture in everything we touch. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting. You talk about the donation and hey, no recognition. Same thing in this conversation as well. But I had a guy call me yesterday that, quite frankly, I haven't talked to in a year, and this goes back now 10 to 12 years ago ish. And his first words out of his mouth, "Hey, Patrick, I just want to let you know, I don't think I've ever told you, but you saved my life." And it's interesting because I go back and I go, that was not me.
Yeah.
Like that was the Lord speaking through me to recognize that somebody needed something in that moment. And we had this awesome opportunity for this guy to go be successful. And he's still doing that job today. So what's cool about that is I take zero credit. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, it was um, putting everything to prayer and quite frankly being open to any conversation that might be recognized as, hey, that's led by him, not by me. And if you walk in every meeting and every business dealing or every what quite frankly means even just some of the travel, you come across random people. If you're open to that concept of how the Lord is working through you, and it's not for your own recognition, it's amazing to see what the Lord does. And so, like I said, this guy yesterday was just such a blessing to me because I'd never heard that story. He was on the verge of taking his own life, and I didn't know that until yesterday. So that was from 12 years ago.
That's awesome,
So
dude.
yeah, and he's got to pray with him yesterday and see that he's on track and following the Lord and successful in business too, which is great. So that's always a great thing.
That's awesome. And then some of the stuff you've been working on lately, man. I was sharing with some people about it. You know what I mean? About how you've been running through the new business. You not new. You've had it for how long now?
Yeah, it's such an interesting. So this business has been in play for about 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when you say that, you have a technology that was born, built, and went out for a specific purpose. And so when we took this over, and my business partner in particular, business partners, it's a family business on their end. And when I came in under this new regime change, we went a whole different direction. And so our business is digital x-ray, which
Yeah.
probably sounds really boring. A lot of guys are like, hey, that's like a copy machine. We think of x-ray machines in a hospital environment where you walk in and get your neck or your arm or your
Mm-hmm.
leg or whatever it is. We started building portable, ruggedized systems. We got tapped on the shoulder by the feds to go fix some problems in the field of just saying portable x-ray in the field save lives. And so when you think about that, imagine a bomb technician that has to run down range and they're out to take an image set of a backpack that got left or
Yeah.
quite frankly a vehicle. They don't know what's inside the vehicle. um, we found there's an 87% failure rate in the field for these guys that are going down range and they're losing lives, they're losing limbs. And so we went hard down that path, and that's what we've been building for the last couple of years. So we build it for EOD, which is explosive ordnance disposal. We also build it for field medicine. So what's been cool is we've done a ton of push into working with the military, top tier military units on forward X-ray. So imagine a PJ that's on scene to go save a life in the field, and all they need to know is what's going on inside. It could be shrapnel in the chest, it could be a broken spine. There's so many different things that we can just get an X-ray in a matter of a second. You have the answer, and now in that particular case, a soldier could go return to duty, and so we've saved them a medevac in some cases. In other cases, we're just saving the life by knowing, hey, this is what we have to do, versus them spending so much time getting them back to a hospital. So what's interesting right now, I won't bore you to death, but in our current dealings with Ukraine and just watching that, it used to be the golden hour. You could have somebody that was injured in the field and they could be able to treat that patient within an hour. Today, that's 7 days in some cases. So imagine somebody
Oh
being
wow.
injured and you just don't know. You got 7 days to try to figure this out without the tool that you need to see inside. So that's what we're solving from a business perspective. But it's been a grind, man. It's been a lot of travel. We've been on the road a ton, and if somebody had said, "Hey, you should go start a business in government with a new administration," and now you got Doge at play, and you have two government shutdowns, and you've got an absolute mess when it comes to budgeting and budget approvals, and I would never recommend it. It was just one of those things where I feel like God's hand has been in this conversation from the beginning to say, you have a tool. There is the ability to go use this in a way to save some lives. and watch me work. And honestly, it's been a lot of work on our side, but it's also been very rewarding to see his hand in that. I mean, I landed on a base on the East Coast here recently, and you have this idea of, I'm going to hand you this kit you've never seen before.
Yeah.
And instead of me walking them through the system, I got to spend that time praying over this entire unit that was being deployed that minute.
Oh, wow.
And so you talk about impact of just having this reset where these guys did not even know they were about to be deployed.
Uh-huh.
And I'm handing them a tool. And quite frankly, we've built this tool where anybody can pop it open and go. And so that's using that tool, in my opinion, as a resource for the Lord to do his work. And what's been interesting is these guys send me fully encrypted messages, but it's just, hey, can you pray for this? Or here's what's going on. And it's, nothing other than, kingdom stuff. So it's eternal value.
Super
So,
cool.
yeah. Yeah.
That's what I love about you, man. Is we've been, like I said, we've been friends for a little bit, and when it always comes back to is how can I use this and pushing the kingdom, and how can I better do other stuff. But and then we also have a bunch of dumb things we like together. You know what I mean? Like Glamis.
Glamis. Come on. See, come on, we know that.
Yeah. If you
Too many breaks, too many
Yeah.
oh man.
If you've never been to Glamis, you gotta check that out. It's one of my favorite spots.
My favorite is, Jason and I both know, you never show up to Glamis and just go hammer down. And we've done it every time, where you get in a new car, something we just built or bought or switching out, and we get our butts handed to us every time, right?
Every
It's
time.
something buried, something rolled. Maybe somebody rolled multiple times, break a collarbone.
Yeah.
Broke
Well,
a collarbone.
Patrick's story about that, he shows up with a dirt bike. And I'm looking at him, and I'm looking him dead in the eye, and I said, did you forget how old you are?
100%, yeah.
He said, and what did you tell me? He was like, I've been riding bikes all my life.
I'm,
Right?
I'm going back on it, man.
Are you really?
Yes, 100%.
Uh,
My wife said, you will never have a dirt bike again if you go to the hospital. Did I go to the hospital?
no.
Okay, I'm still in the clear, man. So we
Uh,
will have another dirt bike back out in Glamis.
So
That was fourth gear, wide open.
wide open, shot this hill. I think he did about
It's like
and it,
75.
75 feet is what
Oh.
they marked at. Crashed, rolled over the bike, broke the collarbone, and did you ride back that day or?
No, I did. I tried. I actually got back on the bike, and we had a buddy that had kind of stepped in, and he's like, oh, you're okay, man, you're fine.
Oh, we got that on video.
Yeah, it's on video.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you know what? Like, it hurts, but I've never broken much of something like that. And so jump back on the bike, and I go down the hill, and I'm like, man, I'm good. Like, I'm in good shape. I go back up the hill, and as it pulls my arm out of, like, it literally, I think that's why I had so much damage in there, is just trying to ride the bike back up the hill, and my arm was just releasing as I'm like trying to, the bike's trying to go. So not the smartest move, but man, love dirt bikes. Always have, always will. There'll be another one.
You stayed in Glamis with us 2 days, wasn't it? Was it
Yeah,
2
so
days? With his arm strapped up like this.
Well, so I think it was Danny. I'm trying to think who it was, but somebody gave me a ratchet strap, and so I just ratcheted that thing up and got back in the bug, the V-dub, and ran one armed for 2 more days. So
That's
portable X-ray, man. I knew it was broken, so I had an X-ray.
You should have had it.
I've got the X-ray. It was very broken, very broken.
Oh wow.
So anyway, could be worse.
That's funny, man.
Yeah. But the X-ray too, it's interesting, the doors, and I know you do this all the time as well, just even with what you're doing with the recovery side. It's not even that mission set. It's always a step to the left. And something we've also been doing as well is really focused in on a group called Sentinel Foundation. And so that focus point has been around child trafficking.
Yeah.
And so that's a big thing right now on my heart. And a couple of our guys that we work with to go help solve that problem. I did not know how big it was. You hear the stories. I've got 3 daughters. That'll scare you alone, of just kind of getting into some of the specifics of what happens today in our own backyard. And so Sentinel takes guys that volunteer their time to go in the field and rescue these kids out of trafficking situations. And so the stuff that we see here stateside is very bad. The stuff international is even worse. We had a guy that had gone out on a mission set last year.
Yeah.
And it's just, his job is to pull as many children as he can. And at the end of that particular set, he pulled a 3-year-old that hit a 3-year-old child that was in trafficking. And so, I've got one out of Texas right now that we're still working on, and that is a 6-year-old child that is just the worst possible things you can imagine as a dad,
Yeah.
and as a human. These are basic things that you get into the details of what we're trying to do, which is, we got systems out there that help scan the children for physical trauma. They scan them for trackers and all the things, right? But at the end of the day, it's not even about that. It's about the guys that are going on the front lines, volunteering their time, using their skill set, coming out of tier one military or likewise, and they're saving kids. And it's big, man.
We were talking about that, man. When you get into that kind of situation, and we were talking about one of the guys that he pretty much was having a breakdown afterwards because what do you do when you get into a situation and you're at a sexual, you can buy, you have enough money to buy how many children to get them out of that day, but there's 50 of them and you got to pick three. You know what I mean? And you got to pick three children to get them out that day, and those are the ones that you're going to rescue, or those are the ones. That's what's going on out there today.
Well, and again, it's
Uh,
even worse when you start to get into the numbers of what's happening within the United States. And so there's a big push right now with government that we're trying to get the data
yeah,
across and the things. It's interesting. One of the facilities that we use, or that Sentinel uses in particular for training, there was a trafficking ring miles down the road, like a place that everybody passes by, that everybody knows within this particular place. And there were 13 teenage kids that were held hostage. They had passports from overseas that were held up and would not release the kids. Were in that trafficking ring for a couple of years at that point, and probably would have been held for a couple more if it hadn't been found.
hmm,
So it is growing. We've got some really big foundations that are wanting to step in. Obviously, Tim Tebow Foundation is involved at that. In and Out Family
yeah.
Foundation is on the forefront of that. Chick-fil-A's planning to step up. We've got some guys that do big donations, and we've got some things in place of even the aftercare. That's a big thing. Is once you have the kids out, now you have the aftercare component as well, which is just as big, right?
So that's
So
always been one of the biggest my biggest dreams, right? Is how do we I got the recovery, I don't say I got the recovery thing 100% down match, right?
sure,
We're out there helping
sure,
addicts, we're out there doing everything else, but what people don't understand is there's so much more that believers should be stepping into today. And I'm not saying that, if every believer actually I heard a song the other day and it was like it really made me stop back and think because and the song's based off of if an atheist said if God was true, then people would tell, and if this gift was true, then people would talk about it more and then tell. And I took that in the way of if and I can see where that atheist is coming from because not enough. And I'm not calling my brothers and sisters out or anything else, but not enough Christians, not enough people are stepping up
mm-hmm.
to help. I mean, Jesus gave us that great commission, right? To help the orphanages, to help the freaking widows, to help the people that need it right now. And there's some great companies that are great people and companies. That's another thing. If you're watching this and you have a business, man, I encourage you to figure out a way to donate to some of these places that are actually stepping in.
That's what I was gonna say. Reach out. It's just, everything in this space is about awareness. It's one thing. It's
Yep.
just awareness. Once people understand, that awareness creates action,
Yep.
right? And so we're not, it doesn't require every person going out into the field and doing things. It requires people using their skill set, and that's the body of Christ, right? Is everybody has a piece of what they're supposed to be doing, and it's an awareness factor first and foremost. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's the things that are revolving around in the world today, man, that actually need the light of Jesus and the light of God to actually shine out and show them that there is something better and bigger.
absolutely.
And it makes me sad. I heard the story about the 6-year-old and I cried because my daughter's 6 years old,
Mm-hmm.
I cried when I heard about it, and it was like one of those sad things to where it's like, uh, and it's just sad.
It is, and it's it has such a great opportunity today to be solved in a big way because of our technology of what we have at our fingertips of
Mhm.
just again the awareness factor. So again, just to reiterate, I think reaching out, asking how you can help, it's amazing. This is all about connections. I know a person that can solve this problem, and you're really good at that as it is. I think that's how you've gotten to where you're at with even the recovery side, right? I mean,
Yeah,
this wasn't
yeah.
here all that long ago.
No, you're the best. Patrick is don't get it twisted. Patrick knows everybody and anybody. When I need something like, oh, how do, and he was like, oh, I got a guy. Uh, this guy will figure out and talk to whoever and anybody. But that's cool, and I do believe it's a part of the awareness when you say that, man.
Mm-hmm.
My whole goal is in this podcast. You know, it's new. We're starting it. We're pushing it. I got so many people that want to jump on and talk about it and everything else. One of the things is I believe that God's still telling stories today, right? And that's why we're calling
Absolutely.
it with the elite comeback, because I believe that God is still working in his relationship with people. I believe that God's still working in the family. I believe that God's still working in people's businesses. I've seen people that were building shocks in their garage years ago, and now they're worth $1 billion, and God's just shown up. Or they're tuning cars in somebody else's uh, business, and now they have, you know, some of the biggest companies because they got clean and they were able to work through uh, a lot of the stuff that they have in play, and just
Mm-hmm.
trust God in everything they're doing. Or I've seen plumbers. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a plumber the other day, and he was like, "Oh, there's only two rules in plumbing, right?" And I was like, "What are the two rules, right?" And he's like, "Don't chew your nails, and shit runs downhill," you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
And I'm like, those are messed up rules, man.
it's true.
But I've watched him how he's trusted God with his family, and he's
Mm-hmm.
trusted God with his business, and I watched
Mm-hmm.
other people step in, and you know, it's just really cool. But the awareness of what getting it out there and getting it pushed, I think that's
Yeah, and
going to solve so much.
I think on top of it too, it's being bold. Like we were talking earlier about advertising and some of the big players, right? Of what we've seen in movies or whatever it might be. There's a major push right now of just people putting their faith forward, and
Yes.
that could be in some small things. It's embedded in their website. Maybe they have a hat or a shirt or something. But we're seeing it big time in our space on the military side of just people saying, "Hey, this is core value. This is who we are. This is how we operate on these principles." It's not to say we don't make mistakes. We're not saying we're perfect. It's just this is who we are at our core. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you introduced me to a guy recently, man, Special Force, uh
Mm-hmm.
med,
Mm-hmm.
and he would pray over everybody that they were air backing out.
You got to have
Uh
him on your podcast, man. He has become a dear friend, and yes, he's 20 years out of Special Forces. Just came out of the unit last October as a frontline medic, and he had this moment with Jesus that was just, hey, I've got guys that don't even understand English, and I'm still going to pray over them. And so his story changed. I'll let him tell the whole thing when he
yeah, yeah.
gets on here, but
We'll get him
just
on.
amazing, amazing, amazing
Amazing
guy.
though, amazing
Yes,
people, and then just stepping out in their faith, and you're seeing it
absolutely.
more and more. I watched a thing. I seen an article the other day, and it was like baptisms in Florida, right? And they started
Mm-hmm.
doing these baptisms on the Florida beach, and it was like a youth revival, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like 15,000 people. I don't know the exact numbers. Came out and got baptized in the water, and they were all stepping out, saying, "This is who I believe in. This is my faith, and this is where I'm going today." But people are stepping out, and now that we're stepping out, now we got to start stepping into the problems that are going
Mm-hmm.
on. We weren't called to just sit back and watch the problems. We got to actually start. We got to actually start stepping into them, and we got to actually start sharing our faith with them. I'm great. Everybody's stepping out. It's awesome. I love it to death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how do we step into the problems now?
I think having kids that are a little bit older, it's interesting watching what's happening right now in that age group. My 18-year-old daughter is bold.
Hmm.
Everything she puts out has a verse to it. And again, I go back to this is not me. This is not, I take no credit. If anybody, maybe Amanda, because my wife is a saint. But at the end of the day, just watching your kids have their own faith journey and pushing them down that road, something a principle that we talk about all the time is you have to do hard things.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, I think all of our world is accustomed to an Amazon Prime scenario that says, I just want it easy. I just want it dropped at my doorstep in a day. That's not real life, quite frankly. And so for our kids, they live a phenomenal life. They are
Mm-hmm.
very spoiled in a lot of ways, but they also do hard things. My daughter just worked a 13-hour shift on her summer break, and she just graduated from high school. In some kids' eyes, that's a very hard thing. For her, that's normal,
Yeah.
right? She had a little thing that she was doing that she was making phenomenal hourly rates to put into her bank account so that she can go do things like give back. And when I think about it, it's like I wasn't doing that at 18.
No.
I was very focused on finding my next boat to go flip. I bought my first boat, by the way, when I was 13 and
Yeah.
didn't even have a license to go take it to the lake. So I'd pay the upperclassman to drop me off. But anyway, no, I just look at her maturity that then passes to her friends, her younger siblings. And back to what you're saying with the baptisms and just the movement, I think there's an absolute push right now with the younger generation that I feel convicted to also push into as well. Um, of just they're on fire, man. They look at life in a completely different way, and it's awesome. It's really good.
That's awesome. Yeah. Not to change the subject, but uh, what is it with us and boats? At one time, I think I had 13 boats in my backyard. I can't even drive 13. I can't even get 13 boats
I mean, you
to,
could try.
I can't even get them to the lake in one day. Half ran, the other half didn't. You know, one I had just so if I wanted to go out on the lake and I could lay down on the pontoon or whatever. Finally, it was like, my wife was like, I think you got a problem.
Right.
And I was like, what? No way.
So here's my recommendation is I think it goes back to water, man. Like I want to be around the water. I'm
Yeah.
a water guy. So for me, and I always tell people, I'm like, you can go buy a razor. That's not great for the family. There's one person driving and everybody else is just hearing music, right? You get in a boat and it's really good family time. Everybody's jumping in and swimming and all the things. So man, we've always had a boat. I bought a boat when, like I said, when I was 13. My younger brother, I used to take his friends to the lake, and my entire goal was to make them bleed.
Ah, yeah.
I mean, on the tube, on the whatever it was at the point, the knee board. But no, man, I've grown up on water and around water, and
So we had I'll share a story about the tube, right? And we went out with a friend of ours, and he has a, this is a couple years back, right? And he had a girlfriend he was seeing at the time. Her name was Jessica, and she was just a little bitty girl, right? And I was like, so wave your hand if you want faster, right? And just put your hand up if you want us to stop. And probably the dumbest rules we ever came up with, because as we were driving on the boat, she's trying to tell us to stop, but she keeps hitting so many different waves. It looks like she's
she's going
raising
to
her
hammer.
hand.
Yeah.
So my friend tells me, bro, she's telling us to get it, man. She's saying this boat ain't fast. You ain't gonna let that. So of course I pedal to the metal. She loses her bottoms in
Oh
the
no.
water. Her top is like barely hanging on, and she finally let go. And I watched this girl skip across the water at like 60 miles an hour, and I was like, I don't think she meant to do that. By the time I went back to get her, she looked like she just got ran over by a
Right.
train. I mean, hair's all out of the bun. We had to put a towel on her right away. I was like, oh my gosh. And she was like, why didn't you stop?
Yeah.
The look on her face. And I was like, well, you were waving your hand to go. And she was like, no, my hand, I couldn't keep it steadily because of
Oh
the
my gosh.
bumps, and it just kept going.
Well, you ruined that poor girl. Like she
It,
probably never got on a boat again.
yeah, I think they were done after that. Especially when she found out that he was the one telling me to go faster. And I just, yeah, I felt so bad.
Oh man.
We found new rules though, how to
Yeah.
anytime your hand
Exactly.
comes up, it means stop.
Oh, there you go. I like that.
uh,
I
so
like
yeah.
that, man. We the girls have grown up on boats. It's interesting. Like we spend our time going to see a friend down in the Florida Keys. And so my 9-year-old daughter at the time gets handed this 32-foot twin stick sitting on a lift, and the girls call him Boat Daddy.
Mm,
But Boat Daddy turns around. He's like, "All right, Hazel, take us out." And I've got my 9-year-old twin sticking in the canals,
mm-hmm.
running the buoys at 38 miles an hour. Like it is such a cool thing for the kids to grow up on. It's funny. My dad never went to the lake. I did it all on my own. So anyway,
Yeah. Um, let's talk about before we gotta go. I'm gonna let
sure,
you close it out,
sure.
but let's talk about the where where you see the biggest gaps right now, and people and their families or in their business, because this is a lot of the advice that I love to talk to Patrick about, and I love to call you about, is because like I want to know where I'm slacking at. You know, my I try to monitor my heart all the time on like what's my heart telling me in this, and where does God want me in this? Because I never went wrong when I trust God in my business, or when I trust God in my family. It's always when Jason steps in,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Jason steps in and Jason tries to lead us left or right, and it's not the right direction. What are you seeing out there? Because I know you mentor and you work with in business and a lot of other stuff, and you mentor guys like I am and everything else. What are you seeing right now?
So it's nothing different than how you and I have already talked a million times, but there's very rarely a scenario that causes somebody to take a leap into the wrong direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always the small incremental steps. And I'm sure again we talk about this with the recovery side as well, is it's hardly ever somebody that just goes off the deep end. It's literally these steps that put them in the position, and they're around people. And so I my key term that I talk about all the time is situational awareness. And so my kids know it, my wife knows it, my business partners know it. At the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, situational awareness is super important from all aspects. So when I say that, it's what are you doing while you're traveling for work? You know, we've always done this. It's been a point of ours. I've traveled for work for a long time, but it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, if you're at a sales convention, everybody is out doing their thing to go sit at a bar and mingle and meet people, right? We don't do that. We work. We're there to work. We go have a very mediocre dinner most of the time, and then
So
we go to bed, man.
so
Like,
you're telling me I shouldn't be going to the
hey, I
bar.
know where you're going. I know you're going straight to the gambling
I
table.
shouldn't be going to the bar when I'm on one of these work conventions.
It's okay.
It's a really good idea. I shouldn't be going to the bar.
Yeah, that's
But
true. That's true.
go ahead.
Well,
Sorry.
I know you like the tables,
Yeah.
so but no, you know it is one of those things where I go back to it's who you surround yourself
Yeah.
with. I mean,
Yep.
the truth is I see so many guys that get into business with people that say, "Hey, this is a great idea, and we can make all the money in the world doing this," but now I'm yoked to somebody who's not of like mind.
Or they sell their integrity for it, right?
Thousand
They
percent.
they sell
Yep.
their integrity into the business that they're getting into. Like
Mm-hmm.
I see. I turned down a deal. I was actually talking to our producer about this today. I turned down a deal in uh, California. Multi. I could probably pick this. I could probably pick this treatment center up in the Carlsbad, California, on the water,
Mm-hmm.
detox, beautiful views. I mean, you name it, it's awesome. Good to go,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I started doing the ethics behind it. What am I gonna have to do? How much of my integrity am I gonna have to sell
Give up.
out
Yep.
and give up with this? And that's not for sale. So I had to pull back, even though I can make millions of dollars off this, right? And
Mm-hmm.
another beautiful center, probably the best center we would have into our portfolio of the recovery industry. Who doesn't want to detox on the beach?
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't want to do yoga out there? But the the things behind it weren't good with me.
Mm-hmm.
The way it was being ran, some of the things that were happening, some of the people that were involved, and I'd be yoked to moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't do it. I couldn't see myself. So I had to walk away from the money, and I had to walk away from that because of what I want to be today.
I get that.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I go with that when you say that. It's because I've learned that from people like you and
Yeah,
other
but you
people.
might not have done that 5 years ago, right? So situational awareness for you is you know now because you've been down that road maybe, right?
Yep.
And you look at it and go, hey, that's my limit. I've hit my
Yeah.
limit. I'm going to hit pause.
Yeah, 5 years ago, I'm like, oh, dude, they got feet massages there too, on the beach. I'm in.
I'll take that.
Yeah, yeah.
My other piece, man, and I could end on this one, but you know, we are such a centric scenario around the husband. Like, if you really think about all the weight of the roles in a household, and for the guys in particular, it's like you were talking earlier about getting your test done, and you got to work out every day, and you got to make all that money, and you got to make sure you have everything set aside, and then you got to be the leader here, and you got to like there is a lot there. I have a different view in particular of a lot of that is how that works in marriage with your spouse. So I tell every married guy or premarital whatever it is that the wife has a huge leadership role. They are so much better at strategic moves. Like we moved out of Colorado. We had been there for 20 years. It was the easy life at that point. I
Mm-hmm.
owned a house. Everything was good with business. The easy answer was for us to stay in Colorado. And my wife was the one that pushed us to Prescott, Arizona. And I look at that today and go, that would have never happened if I was at the helm. Does it make sense?
Yep.
I listened to her. We prayed through it together. And I'm the guy that goes and has to execute on it, which is great. But I always think about back to, for the single guys out there that don't have a spouse, that's what you're looking for. Is you're looking for a business partner in life that, quite frankly, the wives are so much better at strategy. Women have a view that's so much further beyond guys. We're dumb, right?
Yeah.
We see it in front of us and we go hard. But the wives are the ones that are in the background that are doing all of the strategic things,
Yep.
right, for our family. So
Well, before we head out, man, I
sure,
think this is a good one to hit on. What's the stress out there for men today?
it's
Family
high.
men.
Yeah.
How? Think about this, right? And I'm gonna hit on this right
Yep.
now. Inflation,
Mm-hmm.
families growing, everything that's going on right now, protecting your children, inflations, being the head of the household, making sure. I can tell you personally, and I mean, my story is I went from, you know, $50 to I managed 50 million. Everybody,
Mm-hmm.
I got no problem
Mm-hmm.
saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And I still lay down at bed and wonder how
What are you not doing right?
yeah, and the stress is
Mm-hmm.
still there. So think about today in the normal man
Mm-hmm.
out there, right? That's got a 9 to 5, who has his boss isn't giving him a raise, and he's got to be able to take care of. Um, I heard somebody tell me the other day, man. I was at the dance. It was at the dance recital. Why do? Uh, I think his daughter was in like 2 or 3 dances, right? And he was like, "I do this because of her," and I could
Mm-hmm.
see that. I know his job, I know his career, I know his expenses and everything else, and I can see the stress on having to be able to provide, and it's great and he has an awesome wife, and it's great people have wives, and we have wives and significant others that are helping us, but just the stress on the average day man today, and how to be a godly man,
Mm-hmm.
how to be a husband and a financial provider and all the other stuff. And it's like, it's not an easy task right now, right? Am I
I
wrong?
agree. I think it's harder than ever, and a lot of that has to do with, quite frankly, just the basics of taking a family out to dinner,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we cook at the house all the time. Going out doesn't make sense anymore. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, you sit down with a family of five and take them to Jersey Mike's. It's close to $100,
Yeah.
right? And so when you think about just that concept of fuel prices and interest rates and the price of homes and the price of a truck and the price, whatever it might be, there's a lot of check boxes for men that think they have to check these. And man, it's you got to have somebody in your life you're accountable to make sure that you're talking through what check boxes matter,
Yes.
because a lot of these check boxes are so far out and not attainable that that's where a lot of that stress comes from. And that goes for husband and wife. A lot of times it's the wife adding a whole different element. I've got a buddy that he called me losing his mind recently, and when it comes down to it, it's like, hey, I know you don't want to hear this, but your wife needs to go to work.
If you are out there right now and you are, sometimes you have to actually just bring it back in, reel yourself in. And I mean, life is the economy with everything's going on. Things are getting hard out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's getting to the point where people are just literally living paycheck to paycheck. If that is you and you need help with building any kind of financial plan or any kind of setup to where we can actually get you back into the right area and actually help you start building. I've had to do it multiple times where I've had to go back and redo it. We're putting together a course. Reach out to us, and I'll help you with our course that we're putting together, is how to get you back into financial good standards. And that we can use a ton of different models, and we can actually figure out what's going to work best for you. It's all free. I don't want nothing from you. Like and share, whatever. Push this. But if that is you and you hear about this and you're like, you know what, I need to meet with somebody and talk with somebody, that's what we do. I do it. Patrick does it. A ton of other people I knew will take time out of their life to say, let's sit down. Let's go through your finances. You know what I mean? Let's figure out what you have to be. I ran into a scenario recently where I sat down with the guy and he let it get to the point where it was already to the point where we had to do a massive surgery on his life. And what I mean by that is he was already losing the house. He was already hiding it from his wife. He already had so much credit card debt that he couldn't get out of it. He had everything was not going well, and he owned his own business, and he couldn't figure out why can't I do this? And we had to strip it all the way back down to the beginning, and we had to figure out how to do it. So if that's you, and if you are having problems like that, I say reach out, man. Shoot me a message.
Yeah, and I think the reason you and I align so well is because we hold all of this stuff very loosely.
Yeah.
There's not one thing that I have held on to, quite frankly, except for my black Ford. I
Ah,
held on to that one a little too long, and it still came out fine. But I mean, it's like other than that, man, all of this stuff can go away. I
yeah.
told my wife. My wife knows this as well. Our house can go away tomorrow. It doesn't change things.
No.
Um, I just, I think at the end of the day, we live in a society that talks about accumulation, and that could be wealth and finances and things and whatever else it is. They're all tools within this span of life that God's given us to do His work, not that stuff. And so
Yep.
when it is a different perspective to look at it and just say, hey, um, everything goes away. I know we all know this, we say it, but do you live it? Do you actually like live that out and how you approach things like a mortgage, financing a truck? Man, I can't tell you guys that, especially in the toy trader side, that have trucks that are financed at $2,000 a month. There
Crazy.
is a guy that has a company vehicle and he has a brand new Ford Raptor sitting there. And the conversation is, why are you paying $1,800 a month for a vehicle you don't even need?
Yeah.
And he's going under. So the truth is, man, is there are some easy things here. And what I would come back to is you have to want to be accountable. That's it.
That's it. And and like I said, if that's you, reach out, man. We're here. I'll help in any kind of way. I know other people will too. Maybe me and Patrick will do our next podcast or our next video, and we'll put something together, and it's based off of for the average man out there today, and how to get him back into, or how to actually build wealth. And what I mean by wealth is how do we get you in back in that situation and get you out of debt? You know what I mean? Because that'd be a cool thing for us to do
For
together.
sure.
Anything else you want to tell me before we go, man?
No, I appreciate you. I always go back to the concept of if you have idle time, step in, do something,
Boom.
reach out. There's so many things going on from the church ministry with the youth. I mean, I look back at what our church is doing at Youth Alone and has hundreds of kids doing awesome stuff, mission trips, big things with the child trafficking, like we talked about through Sentinel Foundation. I know you have other things outside of recovery that are volunteer and people that
Mm-hmm.
tell your story. Like that's another big thing too is a lot of people that have gone, everybody's gone through something, but a lot of people that go through it don't want to share, and that's okay. But your story is impact. You know what
Your
I'm saying?
your story means something, and I try to tell everybody this is, and it's two different reasons, right? I believe in empathy, huge
Mm-hmm.
empathy, right? Because empathy, when you share your story with somebody else that's going through it, and I'll use an example. When the wife shares that she forgave her husband for cheating, and
Mm-hmm.
the other wife's going through it at the same situation, right? How does she get past that? How does she share that? How does she understand that, what somebody else went to? Or let's use another scenario where they're financially in a bad situation and they're broke or whatever. We can go through this over and over again, or how Jesus came into their life. You gotta share it. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing, man. Is that, I'll keep saying it over and over. I kept praying, Lord, I want to do something. Lord, I want to do something. I'm going to build a podcast. I have the finances. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, right? Just put the right person in front of me to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I tried to get Patrick to do it. I tried to
Here I
get,
am.
I mean, he's here
All
with
I
me.
wanted was a light behind the sign, and you can't even make that happen.
That, let's
Hey,
leave the light alone,
if
man.
you could just make a little more money and get that light lit.
But I kept praying, and then I was also saying the same prayer, Lord, send me.
Mm-hmm.
Lord, send me. You know what I mean? Send me to do your will. Send me to do everything else. And somebody else told me, it was like, well, there you go, dude. Do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it took that, you know what I mean? But somebody had to, what I'm saying though is step out, man. And, your story means something. Share it. And share it with other people. Share it with, I like sharing my story. I don't actually, I don't share my story enough. And I try to tell everybody my nose is too big, my belly sticks out when I'm up here. You know what I mean? I got all these problems that I can make excuses for as I go through this and share my story. But the truth is like when it comes to recovery, business, helping addicts, I got a great story to share, but I'm too scared to share it sometimes.
I don't like it when you tell your story, man.
Why?
It makes me emotional. It is one of the coolest stories of just hearing your testimony. And I will tell you, I actually tell your story probably twice a month to people that just need to hear what hard things are, because you've walked through hard things. I mean, hear it from me. Super proud of you, man, for just taking action, because it'd be real easy to do what you've done and then just sidestep and go hang out with the fam and call it good. You're
Yeah.
doing things with purpose. And so anyway, I don't get to tell you that
You,
that often. But
when it reminds me back of the part I'm gonna go back to is when the girl cried at Jesus' feet and washed him with her hair, right?
mm-hmm.
When you've been and you just can't hide. And that's where I'm gonna go back to with the story. When Jesus has done for you what he's done for me, there ain't no way I can hide behind the money. There ain't no way I can hide behind my family. There ain't no way I can hide behind the church, or there ain't no way I can hide in my house and not try to tell other addicts, not try to tell other people, not try to tell anybody in business when they're struggling or whatever they're going through in their family. You know, there ain't no way I can just keep that to myself, because he's brought me to this place. And I barely got a GED. Patrick knows. Sometimes he calls me and says, sometimes Patrick calls me and says, I didn't understand your text, brother.
Yeah, they're pretty short.
But
Lots of misspellings, Jason.
misspellings, and I even put the grammar app on there. I'm just like, how am I where I'm at today due to the fact of
Don't change that, man. I love
you know, all through the grace of God and God only, man.
100%.
And I shouldn't be here, but I'm gonna tell everybody about why I am here. And that's what the story means. And I appreciate you coming on, man, last minute.
Absolutely.
You
Thanks for
know,
having
you're
me.
one of those type of friends you can call and just be like, where you at?
Around the corner. Come on in.
All right. With that, say bye. See you later. Love you, brother.
Love you too.